going on YouTube? How's everyone doing today? I hope everyone's having a great day out there. So now today in this video, I just wanted to show y'all some of the three best, to me, my personal best, class setups in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now there's so many great setups out there, but these are the best setups that work for me the best, that get me the most kills, the highest KD, and the most score streaks. Which everything, all that stuff is fun to use and everything. So,
Good to see you are
my
still.
first let's go over the your combat rig. So now the combat rig that I mostly run all the time is the FTL trait or FTL rig, and my payload is always going to be phase shift. And the reason I'm always doing phase shift is because whenever you get in those tight situations, or you go around a corner and you see like 3 enemies that you know you can't kill, you can just instantly go to phase shift and try to go around them, and then they don't exactly know where you're going to end up. So if you end up somewhere like that's not predictable, like in a corner where they're all going to be looking, if you end up somewhere else and then you come back out of the extra dimension, you can just instantly take all 3 of them out. And that's my favorite thing about the phase shift. So that's what I always use. And for my trait, I always use perception. And now the reason I always use perception is, say you're in one of the major spots for a map, and you're just kind of staying there waiting for a bunch of enemies to come out. Not necessarily camping, but just there's gonna be a good wave of them coming. And say as you're shooting them or whatever, someone from behind you is gonna be looking at you. And when someone else is looking at you, your HUD pulses yellow, so you know someone is targeting you. And when this happens, you know you can go into phase shift to avoid that kill, so you can keep going on your score streak. And whenever something happens like that to me, I always just instantly go to phase shift and try to get out of there and try to get somewhere safe to where I know no one else is going to be. So that's my #1 trait that I always run with the FTL rig. Now for my first primary gun that I mostly use all the time is obviously, I mean not obviously, but I feel like everyone is always using the NV4 out there, but I mean it's because it's a great gun. It's basically like a laser. I mean, look at the accuracy. It's so amazing. It's literally like a laser. So now the first attachment I run is the ELO sight, because in my, like, a lot of people like to run the iron sights, which I mean I can do that, but sometimes it's hard for me to see the enemy. And the way I think about it is that if you can't see the enemy, you can't shoot them. And what I love about the ELO sight is that it's absolutely so clear. You can see everything when you're aiming down the sight. And if you can see your target, you're more likely about to kill him. And for my first attachment, I run my suppressor. Now the reason I run my suppressor is because the suppressors in Infinite Warfare are they're the best attachment in the game. I mean, they're ridiculously quiet. Unlike in Black Ops 3, I mean, you can hear someone using a suppressor that's probably like 20 feet away from you. But in this game, I feel like you can't even hear someone using a suppressor that's literally right next to you. It's incredibly hard to hear. And of course, the invisible on the radar is always a huge plus. I mean, because you don't want, say you're going around to flank some enemies and you're shooting some as you go down there, the rest of their team is not going to know that you're coming back around them. So then for my second attachment is the stock. And when I run guns without the stock, I just feel like you feel incredibly stiff when you're trying to strafe, and it just makes it so much harder to kill someone when you can't strafe as quickly or strafe quicker than them. And I feel like strafing is the most important and effective way to kill someone, because like the biggest thing in Call of Duty is you don't aim with your right stick. You mostly aim with your left stick, strafing as them so they can't hit you. And that is why I always pretty much run the stock. So now for my last attachment is the foregrip. Now on the NV4, you don't really need to run the foregrip because it's already incredibly accurate. I mean, you can already get those long distance shots off easily. But with the foregrip, I just find it so much more, it's even more easier. I mean, it's ridiculous how accurate this gun is. There's absolutely no recoil whatsoever. It's just ridiculous. So now for my perk, I rarely never run a secondary weapon. It's just I don't find a use for it because I'm always going for a nuke or anything like that, and I don't really use lethal or tacticals. I just this is my personal preference. This is my personal setup right here. So for my first perk, I use dexterity because the reload times in this game aren't ridiculously slow, but with dexterity you always get that quicker reload no matter what, and it makes it so much easier to finish off that mag, or if you're in a tight situation, you go around a corner, reload real quick or something. Just makes it so much easier. And then Ghost. Now Ghost is it's an extremely good perk in this game. It's probably one of my favorite perks in this game. It's just, I mean, it's just so good. You're not on UAVs or ping, just any of that. I mean, if you run a suppressor and a ghost, you are literally invisible to the mini map, 100%. But I don't think they do counter the advanced UAVs. I'm not too sure. I think they used to, but a patch came out to where they kind of nerfed the ghost perk a little bit. But even with that, I mean, I rarely encounter enemy advanced UAVs in any game out there. So then my third perk is Dead Silence. Now, I think the number one thing that I love about the Dead Silence perk is that it also silences your boost, like your jump and your slide, which is incredible because in Black Ops 3, you had to do two different perks for that, and they just put it in one, which just makes it it's an incredible perk. So, I mean, and then enemies can't hear you coming around them when you're trying to flank them. So that's why I absolutely love this perk. It's an incredible perk. So then for my next gun, I normally do the Raw. Now, this is also it's an incredibly good gun. I absolutely love this gun. And then again, I also run the Elo sight on it because I personally hate the iron sights for the Raw. I feel like it's incredibly hard to aim down the sights with that gun. So that's why I use the Elo sight. And then you want to run the particle amp to extend the range on it, which is also incredible. And then the LMGs in this game, the aim down sight speed it's pretty slow. So that's why I always run the quick draw to make it, because then if you put a quick draw on an LMG, it basically makes it feel like an assault rifle. And then I run the suppressor for the exact same reason, and I have the exact same perks. These are pretty much the same perks I run on I mean, if we go through, with exception to some hard lines, they're pretty much the exact same perk. I mean, I use hard lines on the classes that I know with the iron sights on those guns are ridiculously good. Like the HVR, the ERAD, those are incredibly good iron sights. I mean, they're basically to me, I feel like they're like built-in red dot sights, I love it. And then my third favorite gun, it's it's really hard to go between the HVR and the ERAD. I mean, it's hard for me to pick one, like which one I want to do for the third one. But I would have to say I would go with the ERAD for my third gun. I feel like it's an amazing submachine gun, especially after they buffed the submachine guns a little bit. They make them actually feel like submachine guns a little bit more. So then now with the submachine guns, I necessarily don't always run the quick draw. Like on the HVR, I don't have the quick draw on it at all. I put the rifled barrel on and the suppressor and extended mags. That's all I run on the HVR because it's already a really good gun. But with the now on the ERAD, I like to use this on the really small chaotic maps. That's why I put the quick draw on it, so I can always snap on those targets real quick. Then I also do the particle amp to make sure that I can get those medium to long range kills easier. And then I pretty much always run the suppressor. The suppressor is such an amazing attachment on this game. It's ridiculous. And then, same perks right here. Now, normally for my second perk, I would be running Scavenger, but I'm not a high enough level for it yet. And that's definitely going to be my next permanent unlock, is Scavenger, because it's amazing right there. I love Scavenger. I mean, because you can't get those high kills or high score streaks without, all the bullets in your gun. And I hate picking up other people's guns when they don't have what I like on them, like suppressors or some crappy iron sights. I hate it. So yeah, those right there are that's my personal favorites setup right there. And then for score streaks, what I've been normally doing, because right now I've been wanting to try to level up a little quicker. So when I want to try to level up a little quicker, I run a UAV and then a counter UAV. Because then you're getting all those assist points. Because like if you get a counter UAV, I mean, like let's see, a UAV is 500 and you counter UAV is 600. So they're literally 1 kill away. Those are just so easy. I mean, those are easy points right off the bat if you're trying to level up quicker. And those help you get your bigger score streaks a little bit. And I normally just go with the Warden. I mean, it's not too hard to get. I mean, it's a nice score streak to just throw up there, and then I just normally cycle through these all the time. But when I don't run the counter UAV, I go for the UAV, Warden, and then the Apex. Because the Apex is amazing. It's a great score streak in this game. But yeah, those are all my favorite 3 things right there. We got just to recap, we got the FTL rig with phase shift and perception, and then the NV4. It doesn't really matter what variation you run on it, and then the raw, and then the ERAD. Alright, if y'all have any more questions, or if you want to drop some questions in the comment section below for me to answer, you know, some just in-game comments, like questions like why do you keep getting shot in the back, what's the best way to run on this map, how's a good way to get a higher score streak, any of those questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those questions for y'all. Because I mean, it's just, I love helping people out with Call of Duty. It's such an amazing game. It's just so much fun to play. So yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Later.